TikTok family. Hello. Hi everybody. I'm making this video just for y'all. Not for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or nobody else. And the reason why is because y'all show up. Y'all, and plus I miss you all. Y'all have been reaching out to me. Y'all like, where is Mineral Mama? Y'all hadn't heard from me, and I miss y'all and y'all miss me. And I'm gonna tell you, y'all, and I appreciate you so much, right? And so I'm making this video just for y'all, not for Facebook, LinkedIn, or nobody else. This is just for my TikTok family. So let me say this, y'all. I have been set down, but I was set down for a good reason. You know how sometimes we go to the doctor, right? Or we have an injury and people say, well, I guess it was time for me to be still. Well, it was time for me to be still, yes. But so I can finish this book, right? I had to finish this book, y'all, that I didn't even know I was really going to be writing another book. But when I look at the conditions of our people in America, people around the world, I had no choice but to write another book. And so I did. And so that's why y'all hadn't heard from me. That's what I've been doing all this time. Because the way I see things is probably different, right? We all have a way, a perspective. But so what has happened is, you know, I was still keeping up with you all on social media, even though I couldn't post anything. I had to write. I had to stay focused so I can help in a much more monumental way. I'm a walk. Can y'all walk with me while I talk to y'all? And I'm not gonna make it a real long video, but we gotta talk, y'all. We got some catching up to do. So what I realize is we are at war, but we don't know we're at war, right? But we signed up for this war. We came to Earth for a war. But then you come through the portal, we come through the womb, we go to school, whatever, we get distracted. And we forget why we came. And we be asking ourselves and each other, what is our purpose? Why am I here? Right? And then also what happened is, while I wrote this other book, y'all, I'm going to tell you about the book in a second. But we signed up for a war. And it's almost like we're losing this battle, right? We was gaining some traction about 80 years ago. But we're being scammed. We're being easily manipulated. We're being deceived, right? We're sick. And we look like we're at war. You see people that are blind, they can't see anymore. People with one leg, no legs, in a wheelchair. People struggling mentally, PTSD, right? Emotional instability. If that don't look like war, I don't know what else does. And being a military person, never been in a war. But when you see war movies and stuff like that, this is just what it looked like. Everybody all bandaged up, wrapped up, jacked up. And so seeing this, we can't lose. We didn't come to Earth to lose. We didn't sign up to be on the losing team. And so I'm like, you know what? So there are some things that my soul was remembering, right? Some people say it was downloaded into us. So I had to come and I was able to see why we're losing. For example, we go to the eye doctor, we make appointments, right? And we still deteriorate. Eyes still deteriorate. We still end up going blind because we don't know. We're going by what our enemy said, what is good for our eyesight. And yeah, you know, carrots and stuff can be good for your eyesight. But there's something that's more powerful for your eyesight than carrots, right? And I talk about that in this book. I talk about our brain health, all right? And I use China, I use Korea, Switzerland. I use these countries so we can compare what they've been doing so that their people are intelligent and can read, right? And can think. Not about just reading, it's about thinking, right? It's been able to outthink their thinkers, right? And so we were once inventors and scientists, especially, you know, Black people. We were once scientists, inventors, right? And still are to a small degree. But then you have to ask, why is it that the great-great-grandchildren of these people who were inventors, now their children can't even, their great-great-grandchildren, and then 4 generations later, can't even read, right? Can't even think. Emotionally unstable. Why are our great-grandparents not staying on the planet that long? In some countries they are, but not in the United States. You gotta wonder, what is all this cognitive declining about? You're not supposed to cognitive decline. We're not supposed to lose our eyesight. We're supposed to stay 20/20 our whole life. But we're being so manipulated and deceived. We think appointments, doctor's appointments, is the same as prevention. A doctor's appointment is not prevention. Prevention comes from nature. A doctor's appointment just make money and you still deteriorate. So that's how you know it's not prevention. So anyway, y'all, you all were so supportive on my first book, Stolen Intellect. About 100 copies sold on TikTok when y'all didn't see me. And I appreciate you so much, right? But I had to sit still and I had to listen. And I had to listen to what the Most High, the message to give to you all. And I had to put it in this book, right? It's called Stolen Intellect, Recovering the Missing Link. That was my first book, Stolen Intellect, Recovering the Missing Link to Generational Health. The second book is From Stolen Intellect to a Genius Revolution. That's why y'all haven't heard from me. I've been writing this powerful book. It's like 2 books in one. So I give you, there's a recipe to be intelligent, y'all. There's a recipe to be genius, right? Most people think because they went to school, got a degree, that's not where intelligence comes from. That's just brick and mortar. Brick and mortar don't make anybody smart, right? But when you have the right micronutrients as a baby going forward, that's what keeps the brain intact. That's what keeps the memory intact. That's how we store and hold information. That's why somebody in South America, South Africa can speak up to 11 languages, because their brain health. But what did they take for their brain health? That's what I talk about in the book. What did they take in China for their brain health, right? That in 1 generation, they were able to raise up 1 billion people to an intellectual level in 1 generation. What did Switzerland take that they were able to get a people who were struggling, developmental delays, thyroid issues, and bring them back up to speed, right? To intelligence, to genius again, right? And then you're gonna find out, well, why in America, 150 million or more people can't even read, right? You're gonna learn why we have the struggles that we have. You're gonna learn how to maintain our eye health, our brain health, our thyroid health. You're gonna read some stories of supplements that I gave people to help them prevent cancer, or when they had cancer, how they got out of it, right? About breast disease. We're not supposed to be mutilated and have our breasts mutilated, right? Again, we're deficient and mineral deficient, and that's it, right? And so y'all, I just wanted to come on here and I wanted to say hello, and I wanted to just say thank you for the ones who have reached out to me and say, Mineral Mama, where are you? We haven't heard from you. This is why you haven't heard from me, right? Because everything that I do is about us, right? I want to see us win, right? I want to see us be healthy. Our children be healthy. Our children are not supposed to have cancer. Our children are not supposed to be developmentally delayed, right? None of our children. And guess what, y'all? And this is the last part. The same micronutrients that cause developmental delay are the same micronutrient deficiencies that also cause physical disability. Because when a brain is not able to function properly, it's not able to communicate with the rest of the body properly, right? And so the micronutrient that we're missing in America is manufacturing our children's inability to read and think. It's manufacturing all of the chaos that you see in the United States. It's manufacturing all of the mental instability that we see. Because one thing about this micronutrient, it nourishes not just the brain, but the neurotransmitters in the brain, that serotonin, that dopamine, right? So when we get into situations where we're supposed to, where we might, be angry, upset, you're supposed to feel through that process and be able to restore yourself to calm again. But without this micronutrient, you can't find calm. You just go from anger to rage, right, to emotional instability, and things happen that's not supposed to happen, which just normally ends up in chaotic, and somebody ends up on the news, right? Somebody ends up dying, right? A whole bunch of people end up dying, and a whole bunch of people end up being on the news. And we be left wondering, well, why is this happening? It's still about minerals. And so these minerals, United States passed a policy about 80 years ago that we not get these micronutrients that the rest of the world have, y'all, that we don't have. And the United States causing this chaos. So that's why y'all haven't heard from me. That's why the Most High set me down so I could write, so I could give you this wisdom, so I could help us win this war that we signed up for. Because whether you remember it or not, that's why you're here on the planet, and we not here to lose. This is Mineral Mama. I'm going to put the link to the book so y'all can start reading it, because I need us. Just like China and just like these other countries did, raise up 1 billion people to an intellectual level all in one generation. We don't have no help, y'all. Their country did that for them. Their leadership did that for them. We don't have that kind of leadership. We don't have that kind of support, right? They pulled the plug on us and they left us hanging almost 80 years ago. So what this is I need us to have a global book club, okay? For right now, the book is in English. I'm going to work on Spanish because you all have asked me to do that, right? I'll work on French and Chinese too. But then for now, it's in English. But I need us all to be on the same page and on one accord. And I need us to read. And I need us to talk about this, right? Because we got to save ourselves, right? They didn't come to help us. They're watching us lose. And we're losing, right? And we weren't meant to lose. And we're not going to lose. Mineral Mama, AKA, I love y'all, I miss y'all. Trina, AKA Mineral Mama, is what I was going to say. I appreciate you all so much. This video is just for you. Take care. Bye-bye.